Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest of the Overboard Network, a Below Deck podcast. We're back with episode 4 of Below Deck Med titled Skeletons in the Cabin, which honestly, I feel like is a placeholder as it could have been the title for the last like 3 episodes. Uh, and considering it's only the second biggest storyline of the episode, I'm not sure why they went this route.
They were waiting to use that one, or like, yeah, they had it in their back pocket and like, all right, here we go.
Sure. In this week's episode, we'll conclude on some generally uneventful guests, an eventful docking, however, and the worst kept relationship in Below Deck history. No new reviews this week worth sharing. However, listeners, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. We'd love to read more reviews here on the pod. Let's jump in. Sean, I really can't tell what Natasha is doing here by asking Dave to not tell anyone about their relationship. But I also can't figure out why it's eating Dave up so much on the inside. Like, can you make heads or tails of what's going on here? Because I'm at a loss.
From Natasha's side, no. I think maybe she's just really paranoid about what everyone else thinks of her. I don't. I think some girls probably really judge girls that cheat on their boyfriends. That'd be a thing. I don't think any of these girls would. But I do know one thing, John. Dave needs to get out of this relationship or just leave the boat because we said that was one day of him with Natasha. That was one day tonight, and that guy was just that was gonna have a meltdown every 5 seconds. Or so she was so hot and cold with him, and also that he wanted to fight Jason last episode for no reason, just because he talked to Natasha.
I can't tell if Dave is just, he seems like a hot and cold guy in general, too. Like, he's a chef, first of all. So he's already got kind of like a screw loose, right? But I can't tell based on Natasha's actions what she actually wants out of this. So I'm not sure why you went out of your way, Natasha, to have Dave sleep in the same cabin as you if you didn't want everybody to know that you're in a relationship together.
Yeah, that was a weird move.
Yeah, and also you don't have to spill the entire history of like your relationships before your now current one, right? So she can say, "Hey, Dave and I are together," without also saying, "I cheated on my boyfriend with him." Like I feel like that's like an as need to know basis.
Yeah, that could come out organically. Maybe you tell like Kyle and Natalia earlier because like you're closer with them, and then kind of let everyone else know sort of organically. It's not anyone else's business on the boat,
Well, wait, that they're a couple or
or just like when the timeline started, because
who
that's what
care?
she
Like I know who cares about the timeline. Like she could just
only
say
she
Dave.
does.
Yeah, only she knows about the timeline. So how is she? Why is she thinking that everyone's gonna find out that she's a cheater when all she can say, she can just say, "Hey, Dave and I are together. We met on the last boat." Yeah, like that could be it. That could be the timeline. And, like these are all strangers to everyone. Do you need to know the whole like I dated a guy 3 days into when I started hooking up with Dave? I don't understand why she's got to like air her dirty laundry out here.
Yeah. Also, Jen. So like they had shower sex last episode, not
Yeah, most
confirmed,
likely.
but
Yeah, most
very
likely.
well implied.
Yeah.
And then this episode, it's just like it's like they're strangers. Like she's not even talking to him like the first half of the day, and he's like, "Hey, you're not talking to me." I that would drive me crazy, man. I've never dated a girl that I worked with.
I've
And
never dated a girl that I worked with, but I've definitely dated a girl like this.
yeah,
Like,
well, that's probably rare. I think most people usually at least once in their life do like date
yeah.
someone they work with. It's because of the close proximity and all that. But yeah, that would ruin me. And
And
I'm not an emotional guy. That would if every like hour I'm like, oh, she's mad at me now, and I'm at work. I don't know.
yeah, it's real tough. And like they're supposed to be working very close together. I mean, we've seen Below Decks fall apart because the chef and the chief stew couldn't work together. So I honestly don't know where they go from. Like, I don't think they can like break up, right? They can switch rooms and stuff like this, but like Dave's going to be so hurt about it. I think Dave's really an emotional guy, and we just haven't like seen a I mean, we have seen, I guess, a lot of it, but we've only seen like one night out. So, and
Yeah.
he didn't do great there. I'll tell you that.
Do you think it ends up affecting work for them at all? Because they're both
100.
very good
Yeah,
at their jobs.
yeah. How could it not? Dave's a
I
mess, man.
I think it will eventually with Dave. I think Natasha. I think that interior crew is so good that I can't with her.
So yeah, that's the thing. She has other people in her department she can kind of like talk to while she's ignoring Dave.
Yeah, but with Dave, I think he might have a bad dinner soon. And Sandy
Yeah,
keeps keeping all this praise on him, which
I
like
know.
he well deserved. But
Yeah,
I
but
I, I think later in the
I,
season it might get bad.
I just have a hard time like kind of figuring Natasha out, and I think she does as well, because she's like the moment she decides for Dave that they're rooming together, essentially, she's like, by the way, we need to slow this down. It's just like it. Nothing of this makes sense. I don't understand why she feels the need to tell everybody the whole timeline. Just say, hey, Dave and I are together, and now Dave's not like hiding this. Which at the same time, I can't figure out why it's so hard for him to hide it. Like, hey man, just don't tell people you're together, or just like be coy about it.
Yeah, and she acknowledges that it's eating him away inside. Like those are her words, not mine. She says
Yeah,
that. So I came away from this episode. The chief stew is supposed to be the main character, and man, she got a lot of screen time. But like I just don't know that much about Natasha yet. I can't figure her out. I don't. Yeah,
yeah. I actually kind of, I really agree with the fact that like she got less screen time, but I'm not sure what I got out of like. Although could have just been Natalia half the time, and we can't tell the difference between the two. I mean,
Natalia does laundry. That's what I
yeah,
know is Natalia.
that's true. Want to jump into basically the only other storyline of this episode. So not to bury the lead, but first time in Captain Sandy's career that she hit something. Um, and Sean, real interesting here. Sandy, after she hits something, says docking starts with the bosun. And now, for someone who preaches team concept, she also isn't afraid to remove herself from this when shit goes wrong. So I really don't think Sandy looks good in this. I know she hits it, but the fact that she's like, oh, it starts with the bosun. I also think it kind of starts with the person driving the boat, but Sandy somehow skirts that, right?
Reagan's her fall guy.
Yeah.
That's hey everyone. You want to succeed in life, you need a fall guy somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, John, can we start with the deck meeting at the beginning of the episode?
Yeah, please do.
That Storm's kind of giving Reagan advice, and Reagan was like, "Oh, we should have a meeting." I love this. Reagan just admits straight out to everyone, like, Storm knows way more than me. He's got way more experience than me. I that was I don't know. I kind of good on her,
Yeah.
but then I feel like she could have like made him lead deckhand or something. I don't know that she has that power.
I think she does. I mean, she probably wants to run it by Sandy. I feel like whenever Eddie was about to do it, he would always talk to Captain Lee, but
Right.
I think that was just because they were like friends. So I I think she could have, and yeah, she probably should have, because now there's order on deck, and you don't have like Storm doing everything while like Jason just complains about stuff.
Well, I want to get to that. So after that meeting, they take the tender out for the cave swimming, which looked amazing, by the way.
Dude, that looks so cool.
That they should
Yeah.
do that way more often in the show. If we ever make enough money, John, or they want to invite us as podcast celebrities, we'll ask for cave swimming.
Yep.
But like, Storm takes charge, packing up that tender. Jason's very upset he doesn't get to go because, as you know, he is a captain on his personal boat.
So he's a skipper, a self-reclaimed skipper, which I'm guessing he is, because if you contract out a boat, you're automatically a captain. It's not like it's a certificate you get, right?
No, he doesn't have stripes though, right?
I don't know, man. I can't figure this guy out.
I
I'm
guess he
kind
can
of like,
stitch his
I'm
own
kind of,
stripes, but
yeah, I know. I'm kind of over Jason, if I'm being honest.
oh,
Like,
very
he just,
yes.
dude, he just like complains, but then also like he always, I feel like he talks about how he takes so much initiative, but he doesn't actually. He just like waits for Reagan to tell him what to do. And then if anything comes up about we should have done it earlier, he's like, well, you didn't tell me to. He's like the
Yes.
definition of like just like he's just a guy, man. He is just a guy.
He's a very average guy.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to shout out Storm for great job, like leading the cave swimming thing. Guy's a pro. We know that. Regan admitted that today. I'll give Regan credit for one thing. She has less of an ego than I thought she did. Because
Yeah.
if you're just going to tell everyone else in your deck team, like, hey, Storm actually knows more than me.
Yeah.
That's very self-aware.
Yeah.
But then obviously after when they come back from the cave swimming, Cindy lets them know we have to go back to dock. And then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. So when they're supposed to be getting ready, which I get it, they still had like 40 minutes to get to the dock. But there's just a shot of like Reagan eating and everybody figuring out where she is.
So
And-
good.
Yeah, and I feel like it's at this point, and it happens later too, where Storm is just like things need to happen to have a different pace here. You know, he's like things that are taking, and I think this is he kind of goes into Jason a little bit, but he's like things that take 2 minutes are taking 25 minutes, and like he was getting legitimately mad. So
yeah, like later on in the episode when he's packing the tender again, and he's asking the guests like 20 questions about what
Yeah.
drinks they want, and Storm's like, just pack the cooler, just pack a little bit of everything. They're gonna figure it out. yeah. Jason's does not work fast. I don't know that Z works that fast either. I like Z, but Storm's the only one like on deck that like gets the pace thing.
yeah. So Sean, getting into dock, more importantly,
Mm.
I got a question for you. Does Reagan know the metric system or what's going on here?
Jason, you gotta give Jason credit. Because when Reagan's calling that, she's like 3 meters, and he's like, that's not 3 meters, that's like 3 feet. Or he goes, that's 1 meter, which is 3 feet.
Yeah.
and then Reagan has to go on the walkie-talkie and go, you're gonna hit it. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe she should have put Storm on the what's that called? The bow? No, Storm was in the bow. Reagan was on the stern.
Stern. So what the problem is you do want your most superior person on the side you can't see. So
And that is Storm.
well, it's your bosun though at the same time.
Yeah, it would.
I mean,
true.
there's a difference between like someone who's just like doesn't keep an organized deck versus also like can't tell you how far they are from something. So like it was just a terrible look, and we saw at the end of it, Captain Sam D texted one of the proprietors or recruiters or whatever, saying, "Hey, I need a bosun. Do you have any?" And they're like, "No, we have a deckhand."
Maybe foreshadowing. Probably foreshadowing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the move that everybody wants to see is Storm becomes bosun, and like they bring on another deckhand. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. I feel like that's where we're headed, but I mean, I don't know like what you actually need to have on your like CV to like be a bosun, right? Like it seems to make sense to have Storm go it, but like I don't know if there's actual like qualifications you need.
There might be, yeah, because I don't really. There have been seasons where they fire somebody and make one of the deckhands a bosun, but that was someone that was already a bosun somewhere else before.
Got
And
it.
we know Storm has more experience in mega yachts, but he may not have like the stripes or anything.
Right.
So who's to say? But yeah, John, as you mentioned, great editing where Reagan's just eating.
Yeah.
Like
I
this
mean,
is a great time to eat a sandwich and a donut.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean they could edit it any way they want, right? They could just be, oh, where's Reagan? And she could have been like busting her ass on the other side of the boat, but they just chose to like stick in this one thing of her eating. But I'd like to think,
yeah.
I'd like to think
Storm did ask her, like, Reagan, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I was having a bite to eat.
Yeah, that's fair then. I mean, and they were 40 minutes away, so she seems like a very hands-off manager. But they also had a terrible docking, and